r/ask Reddit. Guys, what social expectations of men do you wish did not exist? That if I'm not in the mood I'm not attracted to her or have low sex drive, but her not being in the mood is completely normal. Agreed. I used to date a girl that would get mad at me if I wasn't in the mood, but if she wasn't in the mood, it's just normal. Yep. Plus, I feel like I am always the one that is expected to initiate sex. I guess she feels like since I am the guy I should always be wanting sex, or that I will think she is slutty if she makes a move. So she can just wait for me to make a move and then if she feels it too she will go with it. After like 10 straight times of me making the first move it kinda starts to turn me off. It gives me the sense that she is just kinda ambivalent about sex and will just go with it when I want, and that it's more for me than her. So usually when she never makes the first move for like 10 straight times I'll just stop and wait for her move, and then she gets all weird like something is wrong. To take on the burdens of the world once the elves and dwarfs fade together with the age of magic. Ugh. What dongs? They could at least leave us some treasure or something. Hey, we gave you 9 rings, and what did you do with them? I'm the only guy in my office and apparently that means I am the box mover as well. This stereotype is funny from time to time when you're a scrawny dude like me and you're expected to move something heavy, but Brunhilde is over there with 100 pounds on me and biceps thicker than my torso. As a lady, I loved carrying heavy shit when I was in shape. I'm all about lifting when I can, so it's me, Brunhilde. To make the first move. Not just make the first move, but to make all of the moves. First to ask out, plans the date, leads the conversation, possibly has to pay, decides if they want to go get drinks, has to figure out if it's okay to invite her back to your apartment, has to figure out how far to escalate, too fast and you're creep, too slow and you're wimp. Plus it's different for every woman, has to ask out for every subsequent date, has to figure out when it's okay to start doing boyfriend-girlfriend stuff like holding hands, etc. Preach. Exactly. Men do all of this simply because women refuse to put themselves in position to get rejected. But women will swear up and down that they have it harder when it comes to dating. Had this conversation with my mom and my mom said she got rejected a lot before she met my dad. Asked her for examples. She could only give me like 2 examples. LOL. Yeah, but you're guy. You can take it. In my old elementary school, a kid was having a hard time and crying in lunch. A female teacher came up and said, "You're boy, deal with it. Duck you." He screamed. I was happy he said that at it. He was crying at the table. Other kids were confused and looking at him. He had his head down. Some kids got the teacher and the teacher told him to suck it up since he was a boy. She said it in this rich and condescending manner too. He looked up, red-faced and teary, and screamed "duck you." Needless to say he got in trouble at the principal's. But we, the kids, didn't give him shit for it afterwards. We were actually on his side. The perfect retort. As someone who appreciates Roman and Greek history, I find it almost ironic how some manly aspects of those 2 ancient societies are idealized by modern men while others are completely disregarded, such as the fact that it was common for men to exchange emotions and feelings with one another. Don't forget wrestling naked. As a wrestler, the singlets we usually wear aren't much better. Everyone can see pretty much everything you have to show. That we literally never talk to children. My wife starts talking to some kid when we're doing stuff. Nobody cares. I do it. People start getting concerned. I just find kids amusing and fun to talk to. I'm not a pedophile. It gets old. I always find myself wanting to wave or smile at kids who are staring at me. 1, because I think that's just a human thing to do. And 2, because children need to see that there are a lot of friendly, male faces outside their own family. That being said, my brain always kind of recoils anytime I do smile at a staring child in case the parent thinks I'm some sort of pedo. Just yesterday on the bus a woman with an adorable little girl, probably around 1, came on. I was sitting at the back and they sat right at the front where the strollers go. I couldn't help myself but smile and make faces at her. She was so cute and she couldn't stop staring at me. What was I supposed to do? Ignore mini human? Hell no. The mother noticed her little one was giggling and looked over at me. Embarrassed I mouthed, "She's so cute." She smiled sweetly and mouthed, "Thank you." I continued to make faces at little one to make her smile until I arrived at my stop. The mother didn't seem to have an issue with it. I never realized how fucking different of a reaction I would have received if I were male. This is very eye-opening. I'm just gonna say that my wife brought tears to my eyes when she gave me a bouquet of flowers for Valentine's. This is the first time anyone has ever gotten me flowers. They were beautiful. I can definitely say if I give my husband flowers, he'd have the same reaction. He has severe allergies. A couple weeks ago my wife came home with a dozen roses, a really nice card, and an order of sushi. She said it was to show her appreciation for me doing a lot for her while she was going through a needy phase. It made me cry a little. I don't give a duck about cars. Same. I am also not into sports too. That makes like 95% of the conversations uninteresting to me. I enjoy football, soccer, but discussion is usually a bit dull and repetitive. Think IT crowd. Men need to be stoic from the day they are born to the day they die. Now I'm a stunted, expressionless, and dull mold of a person. Thanks dad. That we should be able to grow a beard, semicolon. Knocking on a guy for growing a sparse beard is as shameful as knocking on a girl for only having A cups. Not saying you should knock on him for it, but there are plenty of guys who need to know when to bail out on their beard. If you can't grow one, no big deal. But don't force it at it. A lot of people are getting annoyed and replying that guys should just do whatever they want and not worry about what other people think. Of course, I never meant to imply otherwise. You don't have to care that others think it looks like shit, but you should at least be aware that they might. It's assumed that as a man I want to stick it in every woman I see. Please, sex is great, but I have other things on my mind. Just because you have a vagina doesn't mean I won't need it. Gonna be very honest here. 17-year-old virgin. I honestly don't care about sex. I'd rather want a proper relationship not because of sex but rather for the company. My friends apparently don't believe me, but I just don't care. Or they're lying because they feel the need to conform to expectations. I like soft cuddly things like plushies. It's not my fault. I have several stuffed animals. I mitigate the girliness by giving them imposing names like Commandant Hugs and Gingerbread Baker. That men can't be raped by women because they like it. Or that it couldn't be raped because if you weren't into it, how would you be turned on enough for penetration? Double standard when it comes to defining whether or not penetration is required for something to be even considered rape. If someone says this, start tickling them immediately. Don't let up. Then when they start getting violent, get indignant and say hey, whoa, if you weren't enjoying it, why were you laughing the whole time? Obviously you were into it. I'm the wife. When my husband has a day out with our daughter people will say he is babysitting. Can confirm. Wife is out with the kids. Business as usual. I'm out with the kids and we're giving mom a break. What really pisses me off about it is, when my kids were babies, I'd be at the store and one of them would do something that was well within my control, but I'd still get older women trying to hip bump me out of the way because they figured the man was in over his head. Once, my daughter was crying. She was teething, and I was trying to calm her down while we were at the mall. This older woman walks up, hands outstretched and said give her to me. Duck no. Lady, I'm not handing my kid to a stranger because you think you are going to rescue my daughter from the scourge of having a father. PPPFFFHH. Giving mom a break. I'm no. He's just being a dad. And give her to me? I hate that. I even get that being a mom. Then they'll turn to your crying little baby and talking baby voice. Is you mamas being mean? I'll take you home, I wouldn't mind. You too couldn't without to be mad at. What? I'm not even mad. I just said to hang in there. I know you're hungry. We're going and be home in a few minutes. Jesus. That we should know how to fix shit. Look mother ducker. If no one taught me, how am I supposed to know? YouTube. YouTube is the equivalent of an internet dad. I learned to shave, tie a tie, fix a leaky faucet, and change my oil. That no matter the circumstances, a man can't hit a woman. My dad had to have his hands stitched back up when at 3 AM his neighbors drunkenly plowed through his yard on their ass. He stepped out and asked them the gtfo, putting his hand on a girl's shoulder to get her attention. Her friend started screaming about assault and attacked my dad with a broken wine glass. Neither my dad nor the guys who were with the girls used physical force to stop her because they thought it was wrong. My friends do not believe that though. At a rock concert, a circle opened up in the crowd, and white trash etiquette dictated that whoever was in the middle of it had to join in the fight. Well, a big one opens up and my two friends and I are smack dab in the middle. Two guys started punching each other. One took a tumble into a third and fourth guy who joined the fray, and it all snowballed from there. So here my friends and I are in the center of this brawl, just trying to get out, stepping over and stomping on people as we get towards the edge. My first friend makes it out, but this trashy lump of a woman sees my other friend trying to get out and bars his way. "Nut up," she shouts in his face. "Once there in the ring. You gotta fight." Whack. His fist connected with her face and we kept walking, getting the duck out of that violence orgy. Don't be an abusive a-hole, and always try to solve things peacefully, but you should be able to defend yourself if you have to, no matter your aggressor's gender. "Nut up," she shouts in his face. "Once there in the ring. You gotta fight." Whack. His fist connected with her face and we kept walking, getting the duck out of that violence orgy. That was satisfying to read. To be fair, when he hit her he was probably still in the ring, so she shouldn't even be mad. That being soft and emotionally available is somehow unmanly. Or even being emotional at all. My co-worker at my previous job, if she said or did something to me that upset me and I let her know, she would just brush me off as being sensitive and she'll complain why I was so sensitive for being a guy. But if do or say anything that upsets her and she tells me about it, I'm expected to apologize and or rectify my mistakes. But if she does something wrong, nope, it was never her fault, or she never did anything wrong. I was just being sensitive. It infuriated me. I think society is moving away from that stereotype though. To be fair, I know the women of today don't see it as unmanly if a guy shows emotion. In fact, it is very endearing and attractive. Being the knight in shining armor to my GF, I don't want to have to bring honor to an injustice. Sometimes, it is best to let it go. For example, yes, I know the guy said your ass is thick. Yes, I know he shouldn't say that, but the guy looks mentally off. A bit of crazy. I don't want to be fighting a crazy mofo in the middle of the street at night when all he said is some stupid shit. I don't want to be injured or die, just to defend some honor. That's when you inform the girl that the man was right and that her ass is in fact THICC. I had to ask my guy not to risk jail or injury to defend my honor, lol. I had friends whose boyfriends wouldn't fight for them when they started shit at the bar and they'd try to get my guy or our other guy friends to do it. So ducked up, not their friend anymore. Honestly, the always be the dominant leader in the relationship to me. There's so much pressure to be dominant and forward and always taking lead in everything. Sometimes, I don't want to do that. I'd love to be taken out on a date for once. For her to pick me up and drive me somewhere and do all the planning. Just once I could enjoy a date for once without the constant need to plan everything. I'm not the sort of guy that makes plans. Her birthday, I better plan well and make it a magical day. My birthday, I need to tell her every detail of what I want, but it has to fit her idea of what a birthday should be. Nothing is not an appropriate thing to do on my birthday. That sounds like an issue with the person you're dating. Why would you want to be with someone that clearly doesn't want to put as much effort into you as you do for them? Chivalry and equality at the same time. Yep, happened when I worked at the old office all the time. I'd come in carrying a medium-sized box and the other people would come help me, or you'd hear people say, "Why aren't you helping her carry that?" A guy works with me bringing in 2 big boxes and no one goes to help or gets told to help. We're basically the same size people. It's usually the douchebag white knight guys who say that stuff. Like at work, one of my co-workers spilled sauce, so she was bending down to clean it up. Douchebag white knight co-worker comes in and is all, "Hey man, you're letting a woman bend over and clean?" I was just like, yeah, she spilled it and she is a perfectly capable human being. What's the issue? Also, he didn't immediately grab the rag from her and start cleaning. So apparently he's the exception to his own rules of chivalry. Most of the time being expected to pay when you take a girl on a date. I never take women to a meal on a first date anymore. ever. Once had a girl ask to go out to sushi, my favorite, and ordered steak flights and 6 or 7 rounds of stuff. It was all delicious and I had no problem eating it. But when the bill came and I asked about splitting the check, she said she didn't bring her purse with her and it was in her car. I asked her to walk the 2 blocks to get it, and she did. There was no second date. Edit. I can't spell. Hahaha. It's in the car. Eye contact intensifies, no problem. I'll wait. Stop making me kill spiders, bugs. Leave it alone. Or kill it your damn self. I'm a nurse. As a guy, that means I get all the combative, violent, and morbidly obese patients because I can handle it better. Do you also get comments assuming that you were trying to be a doctor but couldn't? To share feelings as much as women want us to, just leave me alone and stop asking me to give you ammunition. I mean, emotions. What are you thinking about, honey? Literally, nothing. No, really. What's on your mind? And I mean, literally, I'm envisioning a blank spot in my mind's eye right now. Make up something about dinosaurs. They'll stop asking. And if they do keep asking, they're a keeper. That avoiding conflict equals coward and the whole macho BS. You're supposed to go fight anyone that insults you, and especially you must fight someone who insults your girlfriend. Otherwise you're beach. That I can't be around children without being viewed as a criminal. There's a group of kids in our neighborhood who used to ask to pet my dog when I'd take her on her walk. I think it's sweet. My dog loves the attention. But apparently one of the parents doesn't like that I'm a lone adult man around whom little kids gather. So it doesn't happen anymore unless my wife goes on the walk with me. When they're expected to not hit a woman when the woman is being physically abusive. This actually just happened to me on Friday. One of my female friends is divorcing her wife. On Friday we were going to go grab food at a local restaurant, then head out to a club. Her soon-to-be ex-wife just happened to be there. She waits until I turn around to leave and runs at me, punches me in the back of the head hard as hell, and squares up trying to fight me. I'm a dude. Not huge but bigger than this lady, and I was ready to go. Her friend called me out with, "Are you really about to hit a girl?" And 3 or 4 guys came out to her rescue. She literally assaulted me in public and people jumped to her defense. I don't think anyone should be hitting each other, but I also can imagine the stigma of calling the cops because you are being physically assaulted by your girlfriend is still alive and well. I've seen some crazy ass ladies getting physical with their so in public. I wish cops society would take that abuse as seriously as when it's male on female. Needing to be stone cold at all times. That a man can't just be overwhelmed by emotions enough to fall apart inside. In 2016, I moved to a different country, by myself, to marry the woman I love. The inevitable loneliness and cultural shock took a huge toll on me, and I ended up being humiliated and accused of being weak. When in my mind I knew that what I was doing took more strength and resilience than anything else before that. But doesn't matter how much I tried to say so, because to everyone around me I was being a kitten. That a man can't just be overwhelmed by emotions enough to fall apart inside Guardians of the Galaxy. First one. When Groot shields the gang and says, "We are Groot." The duck in waterworks just go. I cry at a lot of movies and it's always mixed reactions from women. Some are like, "Oh, that's so sweet, caring. These are the nice women." And then others are like, "Why are you crying? These are more cold-hearted." Edit for some clarity. I usually keep it to a single tear plus sniffle if I'm in a movie theater. Don't wanna ruin other people's movie time. If I've got a movie date at home though, I'll cry a good bit. Just don't want people thinking I go to movie theaters and cry on the regular. Also, most women I've had dates with are on the "oh, that's so sweet, caring" side of things. That the only 2 emotions that are acceptable to show to others is happiness or anger. I used to joke that I was either happy or confused as to why I wasn't happy. Then I got depressed and was either angry or nothing. Now that I'm coming out of depression, I'm trying to become more emotionally connected. It's rough. I'm not obsessed with sex. A relationship with only sex sounds quite stressful to me. I really could not give the slightest of damns about sports games, or sports teams. I wish I could just be a meat and potatoes guy in peace. I do a lot of typical guy stuff like fish, play video games and watch sports. I could go on and with a list as long as my tattooed on that has a scar from the time I was in a war with all the typical manly shit I do or believe. And I would just like to live my life without being judged. In the movies or on TV, guys like me are portrayed as either incompetent boobs or colossal ass hats. Agreed. Since I'm more traditional in the way I act, think somehow that means I'm a Neanderthal incapable of rational or deep thought. Really, I just want to spend time doing my manly shit and let others do whatever they want. House husband? Maybe I'm wording it wrong. My SO is a bomb ass nurse working her ass off all the time. I've worked in many different trades and love doing stuff around our house as well as cooking. I don't let her do it all alone though, as I also do work for some others as well for extra cash. My SO makes twice what I made and we have the same degree, except I like doing house stuff. It saves us money, and it gives me time to work on my goals from home. The only problem is everyone gives us a hard time about me not having a job. People have asked if I'm an alcoholic, lazy, a drug addict, a scumbag, or they ask if I'm even looking for a job. We save more money with me at home because I do the shopping, cook, find good investments for our money, clean, do maintenance on our home and cars, run errands. My SO and I were talking about it recently, and it blows our mind that if she was one that stays at home no one would bat an eye. I stay home and I'm automatically a drug addicted, alcoholic, using her for her money. We've been together for 16 years. I think popular society likes to think of itself as progressive, but it's just as shackled by the restraints of the past. That a man's worth is based on his income. I shouldn't feel like I have an inherent responsibility to make your money. I shouldn't have to fight your wars. It's my own damn business whether or not I cut off my foreskin. I'm just as capable of taking care of children as any woman. I don't want to duck everything that moves. If my girlfriend wife is abusive, I should have shelter and resources to help me exit that situation. There are issues unique to every sex and they're all important. Liking football. Edit. Being British. I was referring to what some might call soccer, but I suppose the notion of, as a man, being expected to like a certain sport could apply to any sport in any country. Not sure why men are meant to like red wine more than white wine. Clothing. The only business acceptable clothing I can wear at work is a suit, whereas women can get away with a lot more. Sports. Like team sports. Football, baseball, basketball. I don't give a shit about them. Not being able to cry. It's literally one of my emotions, and I can't use it. That, and having a lot of body hair. I trim shave my pits and pubes as much as possible. I do not see at all how these are manly, or how I'm less of a man if I decide to shave my bush and valleys. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.